Welcome everyone to the most important podcast that we're going to do this year. It is the Big Election Podcast. And I'm here with my I am the Scallywag. This is November 3rd, 2024. And I am here with my co-host, Big Kenny. And we are going to delve down into the shit, and hopefully maybe we'll give you some support for your decisions that you've already made, and for you fucking indecisive, slip-witted motherfuckers who haven't made a decision, maybe we can help you out. Okay?
So, Scally, shit's about to hit the fan, Scally. This shit is crazy, bro.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man. So, here's what we're going to say here. We're with this podcast, we're leaving it all on the field, Kenny. Okay, we're going to try to convince these people, these holdouts and everything. We're going to give people going to do their last minute donations, and you know they say the race is tighter than pantyhose 2 times as small. What say you, Kenny? That's what they say. It says 49-49. Now I don't believe that, but hey, I'm not in the prognostication business. I have on occasions been correct. But I'm not a I am a procrastinator, but a prognosticator I am not. But I see, I think it's going to be pretty decisive, and I may be wrong. But what say you, Kenny? What do you say on the? What's your feeling? What's your gut?
I just hope whoever loses take it with a grain of salt, bro. You know, like, this shit crazy, man. This shit is really crazy, bro.
Yeah.
I'm just scared for society right now because what if Trump loses?
Oh yeah. Well, hey, if he loses, you know, people believe they have more power than they have. You know, just for an FYI, I spent probably 2 hours last night on a fucking Instagram, and they had all these little Instagram channels or streams and people talking. And Kenny, I tell you, it cut me to my core, man, the way some of these people were talking, the way the hatred they spewed out there, the racism. And, you know, I asked myself the fundamental question: are we a country worth saving? Are we so divided and not thinking of, you know, Trump says America is great, but are you truly great if you have hatred like that for the people that live in your country? You know, are you really great? You know, if you think that somebody's the enemy inside of the country, that's good. You know, and I always think about here, I'm a pessimist, and I'm always saying that there are people out there who have hatred. You know, you're going to have a percentage of them, but this swill that these people were throwing out there, and you know, and their blindness, total blindness, you know, they're sitting up there trying to justify you know, what I would say, crazy splaining, you know, or sane washing everything that Trump does. You know, he's this, he did this because, you know, I don't listen to what he has to say because it's all rhetoric. Well, how do we communicate with each other except by talking? And if your word doesn't mean anything, what are you? I mean, tell me, you know, I can't understand it. So these people and how much of a fervor that they have with their hatred and stuff, it made me disheartening. You know, it really brought me down. And I just said, there's so many people up there. And then when you disagree with them, they went to superlatives or experlatives by cursing and calling people names and stuff. And I was watching this one black girl that was, she had a really legitimate not a podcast, but a discussion, a stream. And she said, well, she said, I only want Trump supporters and I want them to convince me to vote for Trump, And and I listened to it for 30 minutes, and there was not one person making a point except through their own propaganda that says, oh, well, this is, they were telling you how bad the economy was and everything and all this other stuff that was just simply not true. The United States government has one of the best economies on the face of the earth. Now, of course, you have people that are taking advantage of the situation that happened when the pandemic came out. But, we have one of the best. We have 4% to 5% unemployment. What countries have shit like that? There's countries out there, you go to like Argentina or Venezuela, those people are fucking starving to death. They can't get work. They can't eat. I saw a guy in one of those countries that had his fucking pants. He had a big old pair of pants on there. Looked like he put on his father's pants. The motherfucker was starving. And these people are complaining about the economy we have today. I agree with you. Prices are high. We've allowed these people to buy up all the housing and jack up the cost of the housing. But what has Trump said about doing anything about that? But I digress. Anyway, well, but that made me disheartening. But what gave me a little boost after I got on there? I watched Kamala Harris on Saturday Night Live. Did you catch it?
No, I was Saturday night sleep.
Okay, I know you're working, man. And what I saw gave me so much hope because that lady, she came on there because Maya Rudolph plays her. And I'll set you the scene. She came up there and she was in a room with a bunch of people and she was going to do a speech, and her husband, a guy that was playing her husband, was in there. He said, well, give me a minute. He says, and she went up to like a little vanity mirror and says, I just want to be alone with my thoughts. And she started talking. She said, I wish I could talk to some black woman, South Asian heritage that I could share my problems with. And she sat down in a chair, and across from her was Kamala Harris. So it's a pretty good skit. You can see it on YouTube. It's already all making the rounds. But it made me, for somebody to be working as hard as she is, and to go down there and have fun with something like that, and she told her, she said, well, everything's going to be all right because unlike your opponent, you can open doors. And Maya Rudolph came back and she said, oh, you mean like to the door of a garbage truck? So anyway, so you feel that we're going to be all right if just somebody accepts you don't think that Kamala is going to be disruptive in her if she loses the election by a landslide.
I don't think she's gonna do nothing. I don't think she's gonna do it. I think it's gonna probably be the people around her that are gonna say some shit. You know what I mean?
Oh, you think that I don't think there's been a lot of consequential elections where they were close, and I just think most people, if you believe in the process, which Trump supporters don't believe in the process. The only thing they believe is that they can only win. No one else, they can't lose, So Scally.
Yeah. In the other states that been, started voting already.
Yeah.
Have you seen like the total of who voting for who?
Well, here's the thing. I'll give it to you, and this is just a knuckle dragger's assessment. But I was watching Ali Velshi this morning, and he had Rachel Maddow on, and what he was saying was that they were talking about it, and he says, "Well," he said, it says neck and neck." But what they find is white women are outperforming white men, and you know that this is the first presidential election that that women don't have access to Roe versus Wade. Okay, and there's 21 states that's taken away a fundamental right that women have enjoyed for 50 years. And no one knows, as they said on the program, that's a black box, because you don't know how much it's going to carry the electorate or make white women change their mind not to vote for Trump. Because, people are not easily giving up their rights. That's why you hear all these people talking about the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, and they don't want that. You can pry my gun out of my cold, dead hand, and they don't want any impingement on the freedom of the press. Well, the Supreme Court had interpreted a woman's right to choose with that Roe versus Wade, and they took it out of the 14th Amendment under the rights of privacy. But anyway, long story short, so you've taken that away, and you're seeing today all these deaths about people who can't get like a DNC or stuff like that, a normal medical procedure, and these Republicans are telling them, oh, that's not abortion care is not medical care. I don't know what it is, but if you've got something in you that's septic, you need a doctor. Unless you know how to perform a DNC or somebody else, you're not going to be able to do it. And these people are delaying treatment, which, I had a medical license, so I know that politicians should never get in the way of people's health care decisions. That's a fundamental thing, that they should keep their fucking hands off of it. So that's what they said is the secret sauce that they think may drive this election. So it may be a surprise, and who knows, maybe a whole bunch of women say, hey, that's not a big deal. But I tell you this much, if they told your ass, Kenny, or my ass, that at 21, at 16, you had to get a vasectomy, and you couldn't get this vasectomy undid until you were until you were married and had a wife, you probably wouldn't agree with that, would you? If the government imposed that shit on you. I've had one, so I know it's a painful fucking operation. So I wouldn't want the government to dictate shit.
You had a vasectomy?
Oh yeah. So no. So if the government was,
and it shit hurt, huh?
Yeah. And I had some peas against my nutsack for a week. And it was painful. So anyway, the fact of the matter is, I wouldn't want the government to dictate nothing about that. I wouldn't want the government to say anything. So what they're saying is that might be an unknown factor. And then also, I think, and I don't know about you, I think Trump has been shooting himself in the foot in the last couple of weeks. What did you think about the Madison Square Garden rally that he had there, and that guy talking about Puerto Ricans and stuff like that? Now, I have a
comedian.
Yeah, a comedian. And what I say, and then Trump went with his go-to statement always, well, I don't know. He says he knows every fucking thing, but when something bad happens, he don't know shit. or that, or he don't know not one fucking thing about, oh, I don't know, they put that guy. And see, what everybody has been saying is that, you don't go up there and put a set up there. Comedian don't put a set up there. They have to put it in the teleprompter, and they have people that's looking at it. If you're a smart person, you have people looking at it, because this is a rally. So things, if you want to say, if somebody says, because they were going to say, call Kamala the C word, cunt. We can say that on the podcast. So they were going to call that, and they took that out. So if you took that out, why didn't you take the Puerto Rican thing? And there's been numerous people that were very close to Trump. This is just, speculation and rumor, but they say that he, of all the minorities that he disliked, he really doesn't like Puerto Ricans, because there's a high percentage of New Yorkers who are Puerto Ricans. And, when they had that hurricane, he withheld financial aid to Puerto Rico, Yeah,
he threw a paper towel.
Yeah, when he went there and threw paper towels to him. And so they kind of left him in the lurch. So what I'm saying is that, hey, don't believe me, believe what he does. I don't, what I say and what others say don't mean anything. Believe what he does. So anyway, and that has been his affinity. So he doesn't like it. It doesn't seem like, but see, and that was to me, he's kind of shot himself in the foot, because there's like there's like 600,000 people in Florida who are Puerto Rican. There's like 500,000 of them that's in Pennsylvania. There's 1 million of them in New York. So there's more Puerto Ricans in the United States than they are Puerto Ricans in Puerto Rico. Did you know that? Yeah, because they have a United States passport. Passport. So they can come to the United States whenever they want to. They live in what they call a United States protectorate. So they're just like a citizen. The only thing is they don't get representative. They get like a fake representative. They don't have senators and stuff like that. But they also don't have to pay certain taxes because they don't have representation. Because, that whole thing is taxation without representation is tyranny. So, so they don't, because they're not a state, they have like fake, like the British U.S. Virgin Islands, they have a representative, but they can only caucus. They don't get to vote on shit and stuff like that. They can put out bills and sponsor bills and do shit like that, but they don't get a vote, which I think is kind of fucked up, So I think if you're going to make them a protectorate and the people have citizenship, that they should be in a state, just like Washington, D.C. But anyway, so that's what I say. I think that he may have fucked himself, and they were talking about an October surprise. Well, I think he did his own October surprise because, you know what that rally was all about, don't you?
No,
you never heard of the Bont rally in 1939?
No.
Yeah, it was a bunch of there was a America First party, kind of like. Make America Great kind of party. And it was a bunch of Nazi Americans before the war in 1939. So they all rented out Madison Square Garden and went in there, and they all wearing swastikas. And Trump wanted to do the same thing, and he thought that would make his followers drive up the base. And it may have, but it also offended a whole bunch of motherfuckers. So he might have shot himself in the foot. I don't know. The tale of the tape may be next week or the next 2 weeks. So anyway, so moving on, what the fuck is this? Elon Musk has been going on. That fucker, he bought Twitter, and the reason why he bought it, what he was stating the reason why because he wanted town square, and he wanted unlimited free speech and shit. So when he took it over, he said, oh, I don't want to stifle free speech and stuff like that. Well, he sided so much with Trump that it's become like a cesspool for fucking, Nazi propaganda and hate speech, under the guise of free speech. But let's look into Mr. Musk here for a little while there, Kenny. Where do you think we know he comes from South Africa, right?
Yeah.
And he grew up in apartheid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you knew that?
I heard something about that.
Okay. Now let's kind of connect the dots here, Kenny. Do you know a guy named Peter Thiel? You heard about him? He's like a billionaire. He comes from South Africa too. Isn't that crazy? He come from South Africa. And they all grew up in apartheid. And they're all now Peter Thiel is the major donor to J.D. Vance. Huh? Did you know that? That's how he got to be a senator. He got to be at a hedge fund and got to be rich because Peter Thiel took him out of college, put him on his hedge fund, made him rich, and then ran him for Congress. Okay? So you're starting to get a theme here. You got two motherfuckers from South Africa, from a apartheid state, come here to put their will on the United States.
They already done it. Okay.
Well, no, they haven't. They haven't created an apartheid state, but they've put up the framework where they're sitting up there telling you that what Trump has said is he's gonna make him the economic czar that's going to efficiency, czar of efficiency. So he's going to cut out everything. Do you think he's going to cut out his SpaceX and all this other bullshit that he has? You think he's going to cut the budget for that? Or you think he's going to cut the budget for school lunches and schools and Medicare and shit like that, stuff that the poor people get? Because, I heard him talking, and he was talking saying, hey, it's going to be some painful for the people of America. He said, because I'm going to make some cuts, and it's going to be painful first, and then we're going to have an economic boom, but we're going to cut all the fluff off of this. See, and if you know anything about history, when they had the Depression, they had guys saying the same thing back in the 30s. Oh, well, we just need to cut out all the business who's going to fail, let them fail, and let everybody who they'll be buying opportunities, and the strong will survive. So that means, like, if you can't pay your mortgage, Kenny, this motherfucker comes here and steals your mortgage. So that's what they want, because in a downturn, the rich don't get hurt. It's the poor that gets hurt. Yeah, it's the yahoos that's out there saying, Trump, they got a big pickup truck and a big mortgage and a job. And what happens is, when they lose their job, they lose the big pickup, they lose their house, they lose their business, and some motherfucker from a hedge fund owns their shit. So that goes back to our podcast, because if you condone shit, they're going to own your shit. And these people are the ones that want to own it. Anyway, so Musk, he acquired Twitter for $44 billion. But he's a smart motherfucker and he's not a person that I would say has a lot of common sense. But he's smart in business, because who he got to help him? He got Saudi Arabia, He did? Saudi Arabia. So here's this town square that a lot of Americans use to voice their opinion. Now, we got one guy in control of it. He can tell you who and what can get on there. We got the Saudi Arabians in here, and other billionaires. There's a whole bunch of fucking billionaires, not just Jack Dorsey, Larry Ellis, co-founder of software Oracle, Qatar. These are, a lot of these are foreign investment companies, and they have a say in how you get to practice your freedom of speech. And see, he can stop you and ban you. There's guys who are liberals who've had their accounts shut down because, they don't want to. And that goes on to Jeff Bezos and the Washington Post. They were ready to give Kamala Harris the endorsement. The editorial board was ready to give her an endorsement. But you see, Mr. Bezos has other business before the government. And he's scared that if Trump gets in office, that'll fuck him up. Okay? Because he's already burned him once because he was suing. He had server farms, You know what a server farm is, Kenny?
Say that again?
You know what a server farm is?
A server farm.
Server farm. What it is, a bunch of computers that store data, They hold it in your place, okay? And the Defense Department, the Department of Defense, was getting a contract with him, and when Trump was in office, he didn't like the shit that Jeff Bezos was printing in the Washington Post. See? So he lost the contract. So that was worth like $5 billion. Now, see, he bought the Washington Post for millions of dollars. So what do you think is most important to Jeff Bezos, the Washington Post or his business?
That damn business.
Okay, you getting it. So he interferes with an election because he's supposed to have an autonomous editorial board. But because he was the owner, he told him he didn't want them to do it. He didn't want him to, pick Kamala Harris for the editorial board, make a recommendation for people to vote for. And all of a sudden they say, oh, yeah, we're going back to our roots and we're not going to endorse. But they've already endorsed people for the Congress. They've endorsed people for the Senate. But when it came to the presidential race, oh, no. Now, also, the Los Angeles Times has jumped on that bandwagon because what do you think's behind that, Kenny? Huh? If you look over, I'm just going to let you tell me because I think you can figure it out.
You might well continue because everybody knows who the fuck did it. Say it again.
A billionaire who owned the Los Angeles Times, who's a guy that made money. He's a doctor and made all this money on medical equipment and he has all kinds of other shit. I don't know. Look it up. Okay. But the motherfucker, I'll put his name in the show notes, but he said, oh, well, he's a billionaire. So he don't want, he's got contracts in his other business too. So he don't want to piss off if Trump accidentally gets into the White House. He don't want that motherfucker to be mad at him. So he goes for what? See, now, do you understand the reason why newspapers there's only one fucking business that's in the Constitution? What is that, Kenny? Come on, tell me what the only business that's specifically delineated in the Constitution.
To steal money.
The only thing is the press. Freedom of the press. The press. Yeah. So they have a unique platform that you can't, and they can't. The Congress can't make any laws impeding the freedom of the press. Now, you see, they can make all kinds of laws against everybody else. If you fucking own a drugstore, they can make laws against you. But the only business that's protected under the Constitution is fucking newspapers, okay? Or newscasting and stuff like that. Well, that's for now. So Trump's going to have another idea if he ever gets in office. So, that's why these people have failed, because they gave them that freedom and they're supposed to use it. Okay? They're supposed to exercise under the freedom of the press to give you the true story. Okay? And this was, if you look down in the history of the United States, you'll see that when they were doing the Constitution, this was one of the major debates of the Constitution. Okay? They sat in on June 15th, 1780, almost a decade before the Constitution was ratified. Modern America came into existence, and legislatures of Massachusetts laid out Article 16 of the Constitution. The liberty of the press is essential to the security of freedom in a state. It ought not, therefore, be restrained in this Commonwealth. Okay, this is the bones and the framework of the Constitution, and these fucking billionaires are sticking their dick in that shit. Okay, they wasn't the first nor the last. North Carolina on December 18th, 1776, just 5 months before the signing of the Declaration of Independence, added Article 15 to their Constitution, that the freedom of the press is one of the greatest bulwarks of liberty and therefore ought never be restrained. Okay? So you see, these motherfuckers are negligent in their duty, given that these were the rights given to them under the Constitution, but they don't want to carry it out. See, what we should have put in there is that no single entity can own a newspaper. No rich motherfucker can stick his dick in a newspaper. He can buy one, but he has no say in the newspaper beyond, making a budget or something like that. And we don't even want to give him that because what he'll do is he'll cut out the politics end of it and put in fluff like sports and shit. Okay. So multiple other states mention freedom of the press in their constitution laws, although two made clearest their beliefs that the press was an essential bulwark of liberty if states were to function as democracies. So you see, these motherfuckers believed in this. The founding slaveholders believed in this shit. Okay? So so you see what these people have done is they have co-opted our government by buying up stuff that are necessity. Do you know what else they own too, Kenny? Guess what? What else you think they own? Well, it's just like the freedom of the press. What do you think else they own too? Come on, Kenny. I'm gonna make you a star today. Tell me.
The majority of the land they probably own there.
What else sounds like the press to you?
Congress?
No. The press. What else? The news on television. News stations. These motherfucker owns media. They own ABC, NBC, CBS. They own that. So if a rich motherfucker doesn't want something to come on there, then it doesn't get on there. Okay?
It's sad, bro. That shit is sad, dude.
They actually overthrew, to a degree, your rights to hear the truth, because they are the gatekeepers to the truth. You know what that song say, waiting on the world to change? And they said, when you own the information, you can change it all you want, or something like that. Right?
Yeah.
So in these 2 days, before election, I think we need to think about that, you know. And that's why you can't get, you see, because they own it. Look at Fox News. Okay, Rupert Murdoch came here from Australia. He destroyed the Australian free speech and also some of the English free speech. And so he came over here, and his job was to destroy the free speech in America. He had, what was the guy named? Roger Ailes. Roger Ailes. He went to Richard Nixon years ago and said, with an idea, he said, oh, we should create a thing called GOP TV, where we could put our side of the story out so that, you know, we could put out like a propaganda channel. What is Fox? What do you think Fox is?
Oh, a propaganda channel.
A propaganda channel for the Republicans. Okay.
Ain't that what Fox? Yeah, that's what Fox is.
Yeah, it's propaganda. And Roger Ailes helped create that. Do you know they work without, they lost money for like 5 years? And that may not be exactly, but they lost money for years trying to get that up. They gave it away for free on cable TV so they could get a foothold into media, you know? Mm-hmm. And then they were able, now they, you know, half of the old people, that's all they listen to. A friend of mine told me about Fox News. I said, no. I said, now go back and find me a reputable source. That's what I told him. I said, don't be quoting shit from Fox News. They're not a reputable source of news. I said, if you listen, oh, no. Wait, well, why you got something against? I said, because I watched it. I watched it when they, and there's a Supreme Court case in Florida. I mean, there was a news fucking casters in Florida, and they did. You ever heard of bovine hormonal something? Well, they would put this hormone in the cows, and it would make them produce more fucking milk, and you know, it was getting into children and everything. Well, this one of those, you know how they do that Eye on the News, where they do investigative reporting. Well, there was a Fox News casting channel in Florida who did that, and I'll look it up and put it in the show notes. But what have I just said about fucking what the founders of the founding slaveholders of this country wanted? They wanted you to be able to get news. You had to do what your employer said. You, as a reporter who's part of the what they call the third estate, that's what they call the press, you didn't have the right to tell the people that trust you the truth. Okay? So, and that's why we're here today. So, anyway, what do you want to talk about this election day? I'll give you a couple of minutes before I go on to my tirade, Kenny.
All I know that it's going to be a crazy 2 days, bro. Tomorrow is going to be like lighting a fuse until, I think it's probably be one of the most watched presidential election races ever, bro.
Yeah. Well, I believe you, you know. And then that's the other thing that I want people to look at. You know, why does Trump get away with so much stuff? Why does, you know, when he, you notice that there was something that Michelle Obama said. I'm going to quote this because she was talking, she appeared, but she was in Philadelphia, I think it, Michelle Obama, Michigan. Okay. And she was talking about how they treat Kamala, where she was talking about how she's got to be perfect, and Trump can stumble over his words, and they explain everything. Well, Trump meant to say this. Well, everything he says, and then, you know, anybody else says something about Trump, some stupid ass thing he said. Well, you know, Trump's going to be Trump. Well, no. See, this is a job interview. It's it's like one of those Rudy Ray Moore things. You ever remember that Rudy Ray Moore? You ever listen to Rudy Ray Moore albums?
The comedian.
Yeah. Well, one of his things was he was talking about a French girl. I'm not going to. I'm going to go into it, make people kind of draw the corollary. Rudy Ray Moore says he was party, and they had just got this maid from France. And the lady from France, the maid, was trying to learn English, okay? And she was she said she heard the word fuck. And she asked the lady of the house, what does fuck mean? And she said, well, that means to serve, okay? So Rudy Ray Moore was there with his friends, and he said, with one of his friends, and he says, he talks to the maid. He says, mademoiselle, such trying to talk to her. She said, well, I can't help you right now, and I'm going to fuck the salad. So, and he says, well, if there's this kind of party, I'm going to stick my dick in the mashed potatoes. So but see, you see what I'm talking about? You say stupid shit, and nobody wants to say it's stupid shit. So if I was Trump, they'd explain, well, Trump was trying to say it's the same thing as sticking a spoon in the mashed potatoes. That's what they would say. Oh, well, what he does in private with his own member and, talking about member, what do you think about that shit about him talking about Arnold Palmer's dick in a fucking locker room? Huh?
Locker room talk.
Yeah, but he's doing it in public, man. There's a place for everything. Like, this is a closed circuit, this podcast. We explicitly tell people, hey, you can't, this is for adults, not for kids. Okay, right? So if you hear dick, pussy, or some other shit, that's where it's supposed to be. But you're a candidate for the fucking highest office in the land, and you're going to sit up there and talk about a man's member? When people has children out there, the last thing he was doing the other day was taking the microphone, acting like he's bobbing on it. Come on, man. And see, that's why it's so disheartening thinking about these people telling me, sitting up here on Instagram, trying to normalize this shit. How are you going to normalize that? And when they beat the shit out of Joe Biden about, because he had one fucked up debate and some gaffes, and Joe Biden has always been a gaffe machine. You go back and watch videos, he fucks up all the time. He always fucks up. But, he's got a head on his shoulders. He can keep facts in his fucking skull, So, but these motherfuckers, they want to say and explain everything. And the rich people want Trump in there. Why do you think they want Trump in? Tell me, why does Elon Musk go crazy sitting up there? He spends millions of dollars. He's sending out people doing Trump's ground game, spending millions of dollars, giving out millions of dollar checks to people because they signed and they want the First Amendment and the Second Amendment. But all it is he wants people to say, hey, I'm voting for Trump, So he gives out a check to one lucky person a day. I don't know. And he's been warned about it by the Justice Department. That ain't kosher, Elon, and he's still doing it. So, he doesn't give a fuck, because what are they going to do? Fine a man with $250 billion. You're going to fine him. What's that going to hurt? That's kind of like your kids say you put a 25-cent swear jar, and you're making $100,000 a year. 25-cent swear jar don't mean shit to you, does it?
It's crazy.
Yeah, so unless they put that motherfucker in jail, that's going to be the that's not going to deter him. So he's putting people in van. Did you see the news where they had people in vans and told them that if they didn't put in their quota of door knockers, he's got all these people on on Trump's ground game. He's got blacks, and they said, well, I don't care if you don't vote for Trump, but just don't say nothing about it. You're trying to get people to vote for Trump. So you don't have to vote for Trump, but you got to go out there and try to get people to vote for Trump. So he's got them all in a van without fucking restraints in there. And then if they don't put in enough, he says, well, and he brings them from out of state. So they put them on a train or bus or airplane. And if they do extortion to them, if they don't fucking get in enough quotas in a day, they're not going to pay for their hotel and they're not going to pay their way home. See, it's another form of slavery, ain't it? See, so anyway, so that's the world we're living in, and there is so much shit here, Kenny. I got 15 pages, and I'm not going to be able to do them all. So what we're going to we're just going to hit Michelle Obama, and she said, and she said something really. She said, Kamala can't make no fucking mistakes. Everything she's got to be perfect every time. And then, Charlemagne the God went on Anderson Cooper and told him the same shit. She's got to be perfect, and he can babble anything.
And what he said?
Well, you'll have to look it up. I'll put the link in the show notes. But that's the way it is. These fuckers don't. That it's not to say they're not playing on the same field. That's kind of like, you ever had a motherfucker come in there and because he owns the ball, he makes up all the rules.
Yeah.
If you playing street football, and he says that car right there, which is 20 feet shorter than when your goal line, that's the goal line, and the reason why is because I own the ball. And that's what because the billionaires own the communication. They want Trump in there, because what did he do for them? The two things he did was get a Supreme Court in there that's very business friendly. Okay. They rule with the fucking businesses like 80% of the time. So you got a court case against a business and you go before the Supreme Court, you got about a 20% chance of winning, because these are all pro-business people. Then they also canceled out the women's right to choose. Okay. And another thing is that all these people in Michigan, and they're getting all upset because Kamala can't end the war tomorrow. And as I told you, I'm against the fucking war. You can't find anybody more against the war. But I'll tell you one thing. If you remember, Trump was the first one to put in the Muslim ban and made sure that a whole bunch of Muslim countries, people couldn't get here, and it caused a stir at the airport. And that was the first thing he fucking did. Now, who do you want in the driver's seat? Somebody you already know don't like your ass, or somebody that maybe wants to help your ass? Which would you prefer?
I really person to help me.
Yeah. So you don't want that. Hey, he's already told you what he did. He created the Muslim ban, and he's talking about deporting you, even if you have citizenship. Okay, even if you have fucking citizenship in the country, he's talking about, hey, if he doesn't like the country you're from, he's going to send your ass back. If you're a fucking person just got here from Afghanistan, he don't like that, he's going to revoke your citizenship and send your ass back. If you've been living here 20 years and you came from Iran, revoke your citizenship, send you back. If you're part of the people that are in Michigan that don't like, which I don't like either, Joe Biden's prosecution of the war in Gaza, and he said it, and if you go look it up, he said those people should be sent back to Gaza. They'll send them back. Okay. So what do you want? He said, do you want your ability to be a citizen to be kept sacred here, or do you want somebody that's going to, if he gets up with gas in his stomach, he's going to send your ass back. He says he's going to deport 20 million Americans. Okay. Now, if he could find out where all the black people came from, he'd send them back too. But see, we didn't come in with any papers or anything, so we'll probably get to stay. I don't know what level of servitude will be, but we get to stay. But the rest of them, if they can find out where you came from, they'll be sending you back. Because if you want to know, until the 1960s, America was like Australia. Australia used to be called White Australia. Why do you think they called it White Australia, Kenny? Australia used to be called White Australia.
What the fuck, for real?
Why did you think they called it that?
And they ain't want no people of color over there.
There you go. Well, until the 1960s, that's the way it was here. You didn't know that, did you, Kenny? You thought they were letting everybody in there. They had, remember I read in these podcasts about the Chinese Exclusion Act and all the rest of it. Well, they weren't friendly to people other than white people. You would get a trickle of people that come here from other countries. It wasn't until the 60s that they started letting people from here. And that's why I say these, like this, what's the guy named, some of these, what is it, Nikki Haley, where they let their parents and stuff come here when the openings in America got to be liberal. It wasn't the conservatives letting you in there, but see, you get on the conservatives' team. Well, we need to restrict immigration, And I'll tell you another thing, another little secret about Elon Musk there, Kenny. He came over here on a student visa, right?
He did?
Yeah. He came over here from South Africa on a student visa, and he started a business and started working. Now, if you know anything about a student visa, people don't get to fucking work when they come here. They're supposed to be going to school. Okay?
Yeah.
So he started a fucking business, one of his businesses, while he had a student visa. And then he's the first motherfucker. He's one of these drawbridge motherfuckers. Get his. Now he's going to pull up the drawbridge of opportunity and not let nobody else in. What makes his ass so fucking special? Huh? Because he came from apartheid. And remember what I said about America? They never met an apartheid country that they didn't like. So we got all these fuckers, Peter Thiel and him from apartheid, which we probably should have did to say, hey, we don't want them motherfuckers over here. Okay? If I'd rather have some guy from Nicaragua come over here and put in a hard day's work than these motherfuckers who's going to try to manipulate our government, try to take over newsrooms, take over Twitter. That fucking guy from Nicaragua, all he's doing is eking out a fucking thing for his family, right? That's all he's doing, trying to get his life together, trying to get the American dream. But these other motherfuckers want to usurp the American dream. That's what they want to do. They want to fuck over the American dream. They want to turn it into what, because they're mad because apartheid ended. And they thought, well, we can get back at America and make it apartheid state again. So with 2 days left in the election, I think we all need to ask ourselves a fundamental question of where we want to go from here. You don't have to listen to me. Listen to the facts. There are so much more things on the line here. Think about Russia and Ukraine. Kenny, do you think that Donald Trump is going to help Ukraine with their war of independence from Russia if he gets in the office?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
He got his head so far up Putin's ass, bro.
Preach, brother, preach. Yes. Okay. See, and people don't want to see. People don't want that. You know, they want to give you every excuse in the book. You know, but when they're over, you know, Americans some crazy fucking people. Because here's the thing: when you were over there in Vietnam, you were talking about bringing freedom over there. Now, when somebody who truly needs someone on their side for freedom, you don't want to send nothing. Here's a country that's been invaded by your mortal enemy who's have missiles programmed to come over there and kill you every day of the week. Every day of the week, there are fucking ICBMs programmed to kill the United States. Okay? What these people, and they think because Donald Trump is pally-wowsy with fucking Putin, that's going to change. No. Putin's objective is fucking world domination. Xi's objective is world domination. So that's what they're out for. They're not out for you. They're not looking for you. These people, you're their enemies, and they know it. The only thing you can do for them is give them dollars or, you know, help them out in making money. That's it. Okay. So we've come to the end of this show, and I wrote a little thing here, and I'll let you go first there, Kenny. What do you want to tell the people about exercising their fundamental right to vote?
Don't let nobody persuade you to vote their way. Vote your way. Don't be let nobody intimidate you and all that shit, bro. Because it can't control you. Don't let them control you.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people there's gonna be a lot of shit going on.
Yeah.
But pray in the morning before you go and vote that everything be okay, and keep that evil out of that White House, because this shit is getting dangerous, man. This shit is really dangerous now, bro. People, I don't know why people want to control some people so much, but you got to open your eyes, man. Take your fucking out the sand and go out there and do the right thing. Yeah. You're not doing it for you. You're doing it for the future of the fucking kids, man.
Yeah.
All these kids that's growing up, bro, they don't really know what's going on, but you got a chance to make their life a little better. Our ancestors struggled to get to this fucking point, man. Don't let them down. Think about them.
Yeah, well, hey, with that note there, Kenny, I wrote a little thing. It says, last but not least, vote like your lives depend on it, because it does. When you vote, remember you're voting for the future of America, not the past. You're voting for the hopes and dreams of your family, that of your neighbors. You're repaying a debt to the thousands of people whom you never met, made it possible for you to live in this country. When you vote, you are painting the canvas of our vision of what we will be. You are voting for the love of America and all of its people. Vote for the we and not the me.
I like that.
Okay, so with that, Kenny, we're going to let you go off to that American dream, that second job, baby. And I'm going to try to get this edited and put up before, I'm going to get it up before the election. So with that, we're going to die in vain.
The world is spinning out of control, a never-ending cycle of blood and soul. Family torn apart, children left alone, as they march to the battlefield with hearts of stone. Why are they killing everyone? exploding, bullets flying all around us. There's no denying the horror of war. The price we pay for our leaders, greed, day after day. Why are they killing everyone? Is it worth the damage done? Our tears fall like the rain as we watch them die in vain.
Okay, America, it's in your hands. Kenny, take us out.
Remember, people, your vote is really needed. Think about the future of the kids. Because if not, we're going 300 years backwards. If you let them condone this shit, they're going to own your shit.
Oh.
Gally and Kenny out.
Okay, Kenny.